Right, back Charlie's definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again. Big up everybody tuned in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night in some cases. Big up you lot in advance who are watching this on the playback. Please do me a favor, smash the like button. Big up yourself if you're on Twitch now. How are we doing, folks? Now, obviously, we're still on a high after defeating Manchester City 5-1. We hope that evidently carries on today, where we have to complete a mission impossible and come from behind against Newcastle. Clearly, we're not happy. We haven't been happy really and truly in the last transfer windows, and we feel personally as a football club we're shooting ourselves in the foot, and you do have question marks over the manager, and I would say more so just the general ethos of this football club, the owners really, to not have a sporting director, to really just care about doing this, what do they call it? Self-sufficient model, to have the summer we had, to have the January we have with everything at play in the last year or so. It tells you where the owners are. And to make matters worse, people, on a Wednesday, I can't believe Lewis-Skelly's celebration is still the trending topic. Now, I always lose subscribers and followers and things like that when I mention these things. But I don't really care, because if you do not like me speaking on evident racism, you like my rhythms, but you don't necessarily like my blues. And last time I checked, for obvious reasons, it's something close to my heart. I can't believe Lewis-Skelly celebration is still doing the rounds. Now, I think it's a bit of rage bait, because they know Arsenal fans will bite it, and engagement and all of that. I think it's clickbait. I think it's unconscious and conscious bias. And I think the media narrative is just a dickhead thing, if I'm honest with you. It's a fucking prick. What I won't accept is an assassination on this man's character. All he does when he's not playing football, you see, the numerous charitable events and causes he's been doing since he's really become a full-time scholar, and before that. What you're not going to do is assassinate that young man's character. And what I would say is welcome. You think my man Lewis-Skelly's an idiot? We won 5-1 and it was all great. If we go and lose 5-1 next season to City and Haaland does his celebration, what it comes with it. Last time I checked though, and for what it's worth, for me, I don't care about the shithousery. I think football's too robotic. I love to, I long for the days of Arsenal versus Man United and Keown and them man jumping at the Man United players, and what Chelsea used to do, and even Luis Suarez when David Moyes accused him of being a diver and he dived right next to him when he scored. I love all of that. Neil Maupay, Jamie Vardy, whatever have you. And also, I think it's the fact that Arsenal Football Club, we always know everything is under the microscope. I do think Arsenal fans do the woe is me thing, but there is that evident stuff. It's annoying. Last time I checked, and I don't necessarily care, it is what it is. When we played City at the Etihad, Haaland said to Miles Lewis-Skelly, an 18, 19-year-old, who are you? That's not being talked about as disrespectful. He put his hands on the manager, Mikel Arteta. He was doing all the other antics. My beef ain't with Haaland. You're entitled to do that. But there was less talking points surrounding that than actually Lewis-Skelly firing his belly, done the celebration, living a movie, playing for Arsenal Football Club, having a great game with his fellow Haylender, Ethan. These are the things of dreams. I can't believe this is the massive talking point. And it's a shame. It is a shame. It's not surprising. It is a shame. And I just want to say, when Saka did Rashford celebration, there was no issues around that for obvious reasons. It's jarring, as watching these young black footballers. Yeah, you get paid a lot of money. You can't wear nice clothes, or you get called looking like a rapper. You're not focused. You can't spend, your money and buy your mum or yourself a house. If you shut up and, not that it's anything wrong, but if you're like the Saka and Kante types, I don't know the word, but these are grown men and you're treated like a boy. If you're outspoken, you've got an attitude issue. And it's because really and truly, there's little of us that represent us in the media. And let's be honest, when they're there, it's coons. I saw it with Henry Winter when I was talking on Twitter many years ago about racism, and he was like, "Oh well, John Barnes said it wasn't that." Since when is one black person or one person of any case, race or whatever the spokesperson? It's jarring, man. It's absolutely jarring. And again, the media don't have morals; they just care about engagement. It's an absolute farce, if I'm completely honest with you. A man's living his dream, and I want to see it, and I hope it never ever stops people. And it's a lot to take. Let's just say, which I think isn't the case. Let's just say Lewis-Skelly, weak is not the right word, but let's just say he's kind of weaker minded. He's obviously playing for Arsenal. You can imagine what the man's DMs are like. You can imagine what it's like for his family, let alone Lewis-Skelly. It's a shame, people. And one thing I don't like is a lack of consistency. Arsenal Football Club, word to George Graham, we're always going to be hated. Everything we do is going to be magnified, whether we win or lose or draw. As I said, I think some Arsenal fans do the victim thing, but at the same time, that's evidently there. Look at the rhetoric behind when the whole shenanigans kicked off at the Etihad. You know, big up this Twitter account. Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville were saying, I can't wait for the return fixture. You can't like each other. Long may it continue. We want to fight. Now, 5 months apologies on from that point. What's the talking points now? And especially, I'm not going to have it from Jamie Carragher. I'm not going to have it from Gary Neville, because especially you, Gary Neville, because this is a foolishness Man United used to go on with. And again, I don't care about it. I love this shithousery. But come on. And a lot of these people, Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville, you know the wickedest thing, and everyone else, they don't even know. I bet they don't even mean what they're saying. It's just engagement. It's just getting clicks. The game is the game, people. You know, you look at, big up Charles Watts, you look at Gary Neville when Haaland was throwing the ball, which would have been seen as a lack of class. Even that Haaland throwing the ball isn't an issue. But Gabriel celebrating in his face and all of this, it's nonsense, it's double standards, and it's unacceptable. Me and Carragher laughed when we saw it because it's funny. He did it. It could have been a red card. Then you look at Gabriel. I think it's a bit disrespectful. I just didn't like that. It made me feel a little bit uneasy. It was a little bit disrespectful. That's probably because when you was giving people verbal and people wanted to beat you up, you got to run behind Roy Keane and all of these guys. It's a shame. Look at the inconsistencies with that. As I said, I think it's conscious bias, unconscious bias, rage bait, clickbait, Arsenal tax, and downright fucking racism. And and again, it comes with the territory for all of these players. But what I won't accept is assassinating a man's character. Football mirrors society. And until we, and including myself, everybody, until we all learn to ignore rage bait and all of these things, where if logically speaking, if nobody clicks it, no one engages with it, it doesn't matter what you're saying. Until we learn that, it's never going to change. And obviously, football heighten emotions. You've got that, I forgot his name for the life of me. I actually had him on my channel a few years ago. You know, that lad, that City creator who's going viral and he's getting engagements, calling Lewis-Skelly rat face and 18-year-old this and that. Bearing in mind, he's sitting in his bedroom like myself, chatting shit on YouTube. Lewis-Skelly's done better than you. The same man that said Haaland's got class. Haaland was doing the antics. You see, very few things can capture man's very few things can heighten emotions in men and women. I'm going to focus on men, grown men, then football. For me, if you feel it was disrespectful, all of that sort of stuff, that's your business. I just want consistency, and I don't necessarily mind it. When I'm seeing Cristiano Ronaldo shushing us at Highbury, or doing what he's doing in El Clasico, or seeing the Haaland business, or the Mbappé business, or the Jamie Vardy business, or whoever, I think football needs that. That's what we want to see. Anyone that's played Sunday League or from the trenches, that's what you want to see. As long as you can shake hands after, regardless of your skin color, you gave verbal, did all of that. I'm not insinuating the players are racist, by the way, or necessarily Jamie Carragher or Gary Neville. It's just a shame, and it's an absolute farce. And I'm not being funny, but it's a Wednesday. And again, let's be honest, it's dishonesty, because if Arsenal lost 5-1 to City, that's how they're getting paid. Engagement, talk for days. Is Arteta the guy? Kroenke this, January transfer market that. We won 5-1. They have to spin it. Arsenal, I think Arsenal and then Man United, genuinely, these clubs keep the light bills on a lot of these publicized media outlets. Let's be honest. It's an absolute farce, and it pisses me off. Like it doesn't piss me off because you know what time it is. And then you got people saying when you're 18 and you start impersonating someone, brother, I'm not being funny. Fuck Haaland. If I'm Lewis-Skelly, I'm playing and a man says, who am I and all of that, and I get the chance to do verbal and I'm not going to do it. The hell is going on here? What the hell is going on here? And then keep the same energy when you see the Jamie Vardys and all of these guys carrying on. Is it a colour thing? Word to Sol Campbell. It's a joke thing. It's a joke thing. And these lot don't even mean it. These old school brothers, these old school tough as old boots, brothers. If these lot really, I would love to hear their thoughts off record. You lot that was playing football before it was woke and when it was trenches, do you lot really give a flying fuck about Lewis-Skelly celebration? You don't. The game's the game. You got KPIs to hit, engagement. Everyone's vying for things. It is what it is, and it's a shambles. It's a shambles. The only thing that rubs me up the wrong way is trying to assassinate somebody's character. That's not on because you don't even know him. The hell is going on? Anywho, man, fortunately, Lewis-Skelly and Arsenal, I'm quite sure they don't give a flying monkeys, man. So yeah, smash the like button. The man said Big DG, aka the Sunday League Timber. Hope you're good. Aye, man, Nathan, big up yourself. I'll have that, Timber, that's wavy, man. So yeah, I think with the coming Dubai trip and after the City game, the team will go through the motions and lose tonight. You know what? There's a million reasons to have some sort of negative thoughts around Arsenal. Do I necessarily think we're going through? No, I don't. I don't think it's a comeback thing today, but I'm choosing to kind of be positive, not blind positive. It's just, what's the worst that can happen? We're out. We got to overcome a 2-goal deficit. Obviously, big up Kendall. I did a preview. Check that out after this in relation to Newcastle. And based on, if we assume she speaks for all Newcastle fans, they're confident they can do the job, but their form and all of those kind of things, it makes them a bit nervous. We've got nothing to lose. If you grab an early goal, then Bob's your uncle. You never know what could happen in this life. But for me, I think we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. If Eddie Howe deploys that nasty low block, obviously we've been there with trying to break it down. If they make it an end-to-end kind of game and feed off the energy of St. James's Park, which for a visiting team is nasty, it could get long. Obviously, we need to get 2 goals as a minimum and not concede. Naturally, I'd understand Arsenal fans if they say, what, we found our shooting boots again. There's a bit of confidence. Our defenders really and truly have been the one consistency. I get it. But for me, if we're going out anyways, just show me some bravery, man. Make it difficult. The best thing we could do, it's like what happened in the City game, innit? First goal in the first 2 minutes, because the crowd is going to be vital. I don't think you can make those Geordie lads nervous and lasses nervous, but an early goal, 2-1, their form's not been the best. It could be a bit shaky. And at the end of the day, 90 minutes, well, at a minimum, 90 minutes away from a final, which could be your best chance of winning silverware. It is what it is. Now, for Newcastle, they haven't won trophies for a gazillion years. They're 90 minutes away from a final themselves. They've done the hard work after dispatching us at the Emirates. Obviously, there's not going to be too many opportunities for them to win trophies. And I'm sure, forgive me if I'm wrong, in the last 2-3 years, they've actually been to the final in the League Cup. So there's probably some old wounds. I'm not going to sit here and say I can remember, but I'd imagine Eddie Howe was the manager, and I imagine there's a couple of players that still got the wounds from being in that. And as I always say, I think as football fans, definitely us historically top 6 or top 5 and Spurs, I don't know about Spurs, we kind of get a bit privileged and snooty around the League Cup. Of course, I want to win Prems and champs and all of these kind of things. But at the end of the day, it's a trophy. I always say it. When you look at the players that actively participate in the Premier League, in the Champions League, in all the cups consistently throughout the years, how many of them actually win it? Because only one team can win it. Trophies are not necessary. Obviously, the better players, the Ronaldos, the Neymars, they're going to win trophies, but trophies are not necessarily a guarantee for any footballer. So this is an opportunity, because at the end of the day, you want to look back and think about all the stuff you had. And there's been some good moments in the last 3 years, but something that kind of, set something in stone. And even for Ethan and Lewis-Skelly, you lot come on the scene, you're doing your thing. It'd be nice for the young G's to have a nice day out at Wembley, similar to what we had when we won the FA Cup with Bukayo Saka, Willock and the rest of them. So, yeah, man, I mean, obviously, you hope that, the resilience we shown in the Wolves away game carried on into the City game. We dealt with City. Obviously, you hope this builds some momentum. If we can put in a positive performance and win, F off to Dubai, whatever these lot did in Dubai last year, hopefully that could come back. Now, for me, I'm still pessimistic on not just today, but in general. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, I can waffle about last January, what we didn't do, Arteta this, Kroenke that, and we can still do that. But at the end of the day, we're at where we're at. We know the players that are fit. We know what's at stake. We know that it's very unlikely we're gonna win anything. But what's the opportunity? What's the alternative? Sit down in a ball and cry and woe is me, or get up and at least go out fighting, die on your sword like some Spartans or some Vikings or something. And if I'm honest, I'm very and again, I want a performance, because in the last leg, disappointing. Newcastle and Arsenal in the first leg, polar opposites. The Newcastle fan did their thing. The players did their thing. They were street smart. They took their chances. that week was tough in it. Seeing Man United celebrating the FA Cup and seeing Anthony Gordon do the Henry thing, it was tough. I want revenge now, and it is what it is. As I said, St James's Park, I feel, big up the foreign fans, because you know it doesn't matter if you're in England or foreign or whatever. But if you was a foreign football fan that hasn't been exposed to, you know, being in England and being in stadiums and that, Newcastle, like Anfield, on a, you know, when it's rocking and that, they're probably the best case studies of what English football's about. We're stepping into the Lions then, but we have to relish it today, man. We are so wasteful of chances when we play Newcastle. But hey, I think someone said we haven't scored at Newcastle since 2021, and I would say this year, in the Premier League, last couple of times rocking up at Newcastle, bar the one where Kivior played and Jorginho played a blinder, I haven't been happy. This season, I don't think Newcastle, no, they won, but I don't think they were amazing. I don't think it was the Newcastle I expected. We didn't turn up. We must have still been on the plane or the coach or whatever. So for obvious reasons, the last couple of times, and I don't know what it is, it's mainly social media fans. Again, I would say as a neutral football fan, well, as a fan of Arsenal, if you were to look at other football clubs neutrally, I don't think anyone's got a beef with Newcastle. I admire them. I think their fans deserve an ownership and a project they can believe in, what they've got now with Eddie Howe and obviously their new owners versus Mike Ashley. The fans are rocking. But it just feels like on social media, there's this little beef. And I must admit, I see that with West Ham, Brighton, and Newcastle fans. Respectfully, we don't know you look like that, you know. All we want is a little Isaac in the summer, which we know we're not going to get. But yeah, man, it's time to be deluded 3-0 tonight. You know what? Weirder things have happened in football. Obviously, it would help to have a gunman number 9 to believe if there's going to be half chances, because I know we're going to get chances. I know we're going to start well and play well. I know we're going to have them penned in their half. I know we're going to be competitive. But at the end of the day, football's decided in both ends. Am I confident of a clean sheet? Not necessarily. I'm confident that there'll be some half chances, but will we score them? And we all know Kai Havertz and Martinelli, there's going to be a couple of offsides there, innit? But you can't be wasteful, man. And what a good, you know, in an ideal world, if you take it to extra time at a minimum, or obviously if we win by 3 goals, and Bournemouth did it, win by 3 goals in normal time, obviously straight after today, we're going to Dubai. It kind of helps, really. On the topic of Dubai, I wonder if our injured players will travel. Please make sure you're smashing the like button. And don't forget, people, we will be watching this game together later today. I think it kicks off at 8 p.m. I'll be live from 7 p.m. DG, thoughts on this summer window? Striker, left centre midfielder, left winger, goalkeeper, can also sell to replace in other positions like Kivior. My bro, it's that time of the cycle, innit? Like we said, all of what I'm about to say now is what we said last year. It's a big summer. We need to address areas. We need to do this and that. I'm not expecting the club to do everything in terms of ingoings and outgoings, but I do think there's 3 key areas to the starting 11 that needs to be upgraded. Obviously, if we sign someone that can play on the left or right in midfield, then that's cool. I'd be inclined to believe Declan Rice in that 8's here to stay. So go and get that Zubamendi or that 6 or whatever you lot need. Get me another versatile attacker. I would imagine, you know, if that guy is amazing, like a level raiser, you're probably going to play on the left and Saka's on the right. Clearly, we need a striker. The Martinellis, the Trossards, the Havertzes. If your form is out of this world, you will get football, but need to be demoted to squad players. And then it's about the depth of the squad. The depth has to be addressed, because we're saying the same things twice last year. At the beginning of the end, Mikel Arteta sat there and said we got the smallest squad. In his recent Sky interview, once again, he said we came into this season with a squad of 19, trying to compete in 4 trophies with 3 or 4 long-term absentees. Bearing in mind the last 2-3 years, the Declan Rices, the Sakas, all of these guys have been playing for, you know, the club as well as country. So these things need to be addressed. On the outgoings front, like on the and what I would say on the ingoings, if you want Nico Williams and Sesko and these are the guys and you don't see that there's any other alternatives, go after them, make sure you get it done. But you see, if you don't get it done, I don't want to hear we tried and there was no players and all the talk that was said last summer and was said now. If the powder's really dry, let's do what we're doing. Because we had a positive net spending this summer. We finished 2 points off City, and you saw the players we brought in. None of them are starting 11s like that. You obviously, even signing a striker in January doesn't necessarily guarantee we're rescuing our season, but it would have been a big help, whether that's Watkins or somebody else. For me, that tells you, away from Mikel Arteta and the players, that tells you what the remit of this club is, what the KPI is, what the club is happy with. I know we need to keep getting in the Champions League and make money and do well in certain aspects, is to be healthy in that. But that tells you where the Kroenkes' mindset is. They would like to win a league. If Mikel Arteta and the boys can pull off a mission impossible, then Bob's your uncle. If not, we got Champions League football. In terms of outgoings, It's a weird one, man, because everyone's available for the right price. You would imagine Gabriel Jesus is someone whose future would have been subject to speculation. Hope he gets over his injury. With his ACL, you can forget that. Tierney's obviously gone. You'd imagine Nelson's gone. Kivior, something's got to be done there, in my opinion. And obviously, he could play left back, but with Lewis-Skelly's emergence, it's peak for you. Zinchenko, if I haven't said his name, Jorginho and Partey, we don't know. At this moment in time, it looks like Jorginho will be going back to Brazil. I think Partey's gone. Chance to get him off the wage bill, but you never know with his form. Who else is there? We need to sort out the goalkeeping situation, you know, again in the summer. And actually in January, we covered it yesterday where the Athletics concerned. That Garcia lad of Espanyol. So clearly they want a goalkeeper or two. There's going to need to be some spending. And that's before we get into Gabriel Magalhaes, William Saliba, Bukayo Saka, not to them man's level, but Gabriel Martinelli, the two star boys in Ethan and Lewis-Skelly, new deal. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. I'm not expecting us to do everything. I understand that. But at a minimum, if I don't see a number 9 arrive and I don't see another attacker, I know we're not serious. If you don't address the depth is one thing, and I still need that addressed. But if you don't get 3 players that immediately make us go, oh, is it going to be assuming Partey stays, sorry. Is it going to be Partey and Rice, or is Zubamendi going to be with Rice? We've got a front 3. What's going on with Martinelli? Saka and my man are going to do madness. Got the 9. If these 3 areas are not addressed, I know we're not serious next season. I know we're not. Because even when you look at it from a footballing point of view, you can be disappointed that we didn't do what we needed to do, not just in January, but in the summer. But then when you take a step back and you look at the whole self-sufficient stuff and us needing to sell before we can buy, I genuinely think there's a bit of it sounds dumb because we're spending peas, but clearly there's austerity measures at this football club. We're trying to sell players and put some sort of positives in that regards. That being said, with all of that remits being said, past that, the net kind of, if you imagine like all of that red tape and you move away from that, the net budget that Mikel Arteta has been given and the recruitment staff, it's not been good enough, has it? It's not. I believe in Calafiori. I kind of exclude him from this, people. I think people are too harsh on the 22-year-old left back. But at the end of the day, Lewis-Skelly took your place. None of the guys that arrived in the summer were game changers. None of them, even with the current backdrop we've got now with injuries, are really pushing for starts. I don't know where Mikel Arteta's head is at, if he's going to rotate the Sterlings, the Calafioris, the Morenos into today, or he's going to go strong again because we've got a 10-day break now. I don't know, but there's a lot that needs to be done. And these guys have there's got to be offers. And that's before you even talk about the Lokongas, the Fabio Tavares, Fabio Vieira, sorry, Nuno Tavares, and all of them ones. Is there extra time or straight penalty shootout? I swear it's extra time and pens. I don't know, man. I really should do my research. Big up all the man that we made it out the ends and onto the biggest stage. They're doing it for the next gen of young black ballers. There you have it, bro. There you have it. Run up the likes, hyper. I can't lie, man. If there was an award, you'd win Mod of the Year, man. Like you've actually done the Lewis-Skelly thing. Since you've come a part of the DG Nation family, you're always here. You're actually going to win PFA or our PFA Young Player of the Year. No, we will lose Raya. We'll probably save 1 or 2, and someone like Havertz or Gabby will miss. Hard to predict pens, as both teams might not have the better pen takers on the pitch. We don't have Saka and probably won't have Jorginho to take pens. All I would say, if it goes to pens, I hope after the United game we did a bit of penalty practice. I hope when we're training today we do a little bit of penalty practice, because you never know. Penalties are luck of the draw, innit? At a minimum, we need to find 2 goals. And for a team that just won 5-1 against City, probably one of the top goal scorers in the Premier League, got 91 goals last year. On the face of it, I should believe we could do it. But then when we break it down, because as we know, I think that's a bit of a cop-out. There's been games where we've obviously created a lot from open play, but that's probably been a rarity versus all the times there hasn't been, right? Set pieces is our bread and butter, breaking down low blocks. Because again, Eddie Howe, they're going, you know what time it is. Like, they're not going to, yeah, their fans probably want them to come out, hit the ground running, smash us up, but they're going to be difficult to break down. So we're going to have to see, man. What I would say is, if the players have whatever mentality they had going into the City game, have that against Newcastle. There's no guarantee that the same result happens, but as a minimum, preparation in it. And I'm not being funny. You lot of professional footballers, isn't it? Just pick your spot and smash it, really. Penalties have been mixed success. I swear, we beat Porto. We lost to Sporting. We beat City in the English Super Cup. We obviously lost to United. Did I say Sporting? Yeah, so it's been a bit mixed where penalties are concerned with us, man, really. And, let's just hope Sterling doesn't step up. Big him up. But, yeah, man. Gary Neville just says anything. He's a clown, disrespectful, my back foot when he was kicking lumps out of Reyes. RIP, forgets exactly. And listen, let's be honest. Gary Neville is like the Piers Morgan of football, bro. He just wants to be seen as the beacon of hope. He just wants to be seen talking. That's like a lot of people. There's listen, in this industry, there's very much there's a lack of morality, there's a lack of really standing on everything, and it's the belly of the beast. When you're in there with Rupert Murdoch and all of them guys, it's all mind games. Let me stop before somehow the channel gets spliffed. Big up all the man them inside, smash the like button and subscribe. And if there's gal there, you man think Arsenal will come back? I don't think Arsenal will come back, but you know what? We ain't got nothing else but a little bit of blind optimism in it. Mr. Moses, big up yourself. Good afternoon, DG in the chat. Thoughts on MLS being targeted by the media. I think this comment must have come in while I was ranting. So if you missed it, go and see it at the beginning. I did follow me on Instagram and obviously TikTok, Deluded Goonot. You'll find it. I did a small piece on it, and really I tried to avoid these things. You don't know me. I don't know about any other content creator. When it comes to racism and discrimination of anybody, man, woman, black, white, Muslim, Christian, whatever, because for me, I don't like that, and I don't like that. I don't like it anyways as a human being, and I don't like it in sport. Sport doesn't care about your skin color, your religion, your background, all of that. It just cares: are you fast? Are you strong? Do you support Arsenal? Do you support them, man? Whatever. So I'll always stand up for anyone, especially those that can't. Like, come on, Lewis-Skelly's not gonna come out and say something because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? But I try to avoid it because it makes me vexed. But every now and again, you can't not. Who, in the grand scheme of things, who am I? I've only got 64,000 subscribers. Ain't no one listening to me like that. But we've got more of a voice. And I'm talking about you lot in the chat and us. We are the culture, especially with social media. We've leveled the playing field. Why do you think these same publications that slated us content creators and those who have built platforms, and said they're clickbait and rage bait, they're doing the same things? They're doing the same things. They're having YouTube shows. They're doing it because they see that's where life's going. TV, people buying TVs, people watching traditional TV, people watching media through traditional means is dying. Whether these lot care about it or not, which I don't think they do, at the end of the day, it's a business. They have to follow the guala, innit? YouTube is actually outstripping traditional TV, and you're seeing it. People like Netflix. You think Netflix want to have YouTubers as part of their productions? They're seeing what they're doing and they're thinking. It's jarring, man. It's proper jarring. Long-term, Gabriel Jesus is going on a free terminating that contract. I mean, he's contracted until 2027. I don't know if we'll do that, but yeah, man. The first thing right now is just let Gabriel Jesus rehabilitate. I know the game isn't based on sympathy and things like that, yeah, but for me, and you lot can say what you want, for me, I don't feel... I wouldn't be happy with my club, regardless of what you have to say about the finances and Gabriel Jesus. If there was some talk, like Gabriel Jesus is probably out for the rest of the year minimum, right? If within that time they were talking about ripping up his deal, for me, that's not how we do things, innit? So yeah, I'm not even going to complain about Havertz. He's literally the best we have right now, and the only person who can play up front. For striker, Arteta could bring in a youth man like Cabba from the academy. I don't think you're going to see that today, though. I don't feel sympathy for Arteta. He knew we needed a serious striker 2 seasons in a row. This whole wage bill and having already got 2 strikers in Jesus and Havertz cost Arsenal in the long run. Big up yourself, nameless Gooner. I've been saying Cabba should be on the bench. I mean, but I'm not going to lie. I don't think Arteta rates the Cabbas, the Nathan Butler or Dejis. He might have the Sego Juniors. He might have to utilize them, but they're bodies. We saw this from back a day when you would see Amari Hutchinson, Charlie Patino, Mika Beref, who scored another hat-trick for Monaco and doing his thing. When they were on the bench, they were bodies. And I think you're at that stage where you might have to play them in some capacity, but they're bodies. And I feel sorry for them because the club, if you're Sego Jr., Nathan Butler or Deji, you're not stupid. Of course you want to make it at Arsenal, but for one reason or not, it looks cloudy. There's a bagger man in front of you. Ethan can also play out wide. Under 21's football is dead. You're just playing it for the sake of it. The Cabbers, Nathan Butler or JJ, and Sego, I'd be surprised if there wasn't League One Championship clubs trying to get them on loan. And that's where they need to go. You need to go play men's football. But rightly or wrongly, the club probably said, you know what, you man have to stay for now, really. We might need bodies. Because we all assuming, I'm not saying we all are, but all assuming there's going to be no other injuries. And we've had illness, broken toes, this, that. Man have come back and been injured. It's been a long run, man. I wanted Jason Ito to be ruthless in terminating Sterling's contract, bringing Evan Ferguson on loan, and then getting Ryan Cherky in right wing. It would have been good, but fallacy stuff, man. Arsenal got the biggest media presence, but see that City, Paul were doing explicit things to themselves. Most woke rivalry in PL. Big up Jerome, another one who's part of the furniture, and 2-3, man. Big up my members and mods. Big up DG. Hope the boys treat today as a cup final. If anyone could do the mad thing, it's this team. I'm hopeful, but I'm not expecting. There he said it, like, just choosing to be optimistic. Car, if I know we're going out, if I know it's peak that was 2 goals down, it is what it is, isn't it? Like, if Isaac stays at Newcastle, he's money hungry or just not ambitious enough. Newcastle ain't winning anything major anytime soon. For a man of his talents, he should be playing in the best team or runners up. I hear that, but you know, when Newcastle were able to get over their PSR stuff, they're going to bring in other stars. He's playing with Tonali and Gamares and Gordon, good manager in Eddie Howe, ambitious ownership as well. You know, I could understand. Obviously, the Newcastle fans, they love their players. They love a striker. You know, I'm not going to compare him to Alan Shearer, but he's probably the striker they've probably loved more in recent years. He's got a good thing going. That being said, of course, I do think he would listen if Arsenal were interested. I do think he'd be enticed by wanting to link up with Mikel Arteta and obviously the Sociedad boys and actually the aspect of living in London. But it comes down to the piece. Newcastle in a good position. They got 2 or so years, 2-3 years on his deal. They're trying to proactively give my man a new deal. They're in a position of strength. Now, if he was to run down his deal and he's got a year or two and, you know, it's one where going into the summer, it's do Newcastle stick or twist and he's made it clear I want to leave, then you've got a leg to stand on. But, you know, where you're going to Newcastle, bro, for me, big up Kendall. I know she's saying 150 million. I think, bearing in mind Newcastle spent 80 million on him, you've got to be coming in with a bid of 100 million to get negotiations started, and you've got to be prepared to pay 100, 115, 120, 130, maybe even 150. Let's just say a club record that eclipses Declan Rice, or you're wasting everyone's time. Isaac could want to move as much as he wants, and even that, he's being linked with Arsenal and Barcelona today again. Arsenal aren't going to do that. We're not going to spend 100+ million without factoring in everything else into what we're doing, especially what we're seeing now, or let's say 120. Barcelona, I know they cook their books, but they're broke. We're not broke. Stan Kroenke's living mantra is stack notes and act broke. He's that guy. He's that guy that could go Novikov. He's more than happy with a meal deal. I hear it. Stack notes and act broke. And when he's giving the P's, Arteta's done a lot of good things with the P's, but he's also squandered the P's as well. Let's be real. Because even when you look at the stuff yesterday, yeah, Watkins is 29 and da-da-da-da-da-da. But Mikel Arteta said, yeah, let's go for that. We bid it. Apparently, he weren't convinced with Tell. We didn't. So that's why I think there's multiple layers to this. You can't just blame the Kroenke. You can't just blame the Arteta. Everything kind of interlaps and interlinks as a football club. They talk about collaboration. Don't we have another year before the Rice signing is cycled off PSR? I don't know, man. I really don't know. I really don't know. And if we really want to dodge this PSR stuff, we need to start doing the Bandilus like what the other teams are doing. And the academy as well. It's 100% prof. Facts, Arteta needs to show ambition in the transfer market. We don't sell well because we buy not enough to be champions. Why don't Arteta look to Salah in our academy instead of investing in Napan? He's not going to make the grade here. He's a good player. He's not going to make the grade here. Napan's better than him. I'm not going to cap to you. One love for the super chat, my killie. Is it bad that I'd be happy with a League Cup and top 4 this season? I just want to see a trophy, bro. I'm desperate. I hear you. Like, it's better than what it looks like. And, you know, beggars can't be choosers. In this life, I don't want to be ungrateful. Once again, one love for your super chat. Speaking of being grateful, and Cal, you're always here. So, again, big up yourself. But, yeah, bro, like, for me, yeah, I'm having that. Because at the end of the day, we've won a trophy. But it's not the Prem. It's not the champs. It's not what we've been building up for, really and truly. You know, you pick up trophies wherever you can. Did you see the news on Fab on Skelly and Ethan? It could only be around a new deal. It could only be around a new deal. And you'd imagine, you know, they're talking to their advisors already. Well, Arsenal are talking to advisors already. You know, if I was them from a club perspective, I'm trying to push for. If I was Arsenal, I'm trying to get them lads signed to a 5-year deal. If I was their advisors, I'm trying to get 3 years. Just because, just like Bukayo said, why is it not coming up? Why is it? Sorry, folks. Why is Fabrizio Romano's Twitter not coming up? Yeah, just like Bukayo Saka, you've seen more times Saka signs a 3-year deal with an option of a 4th. Obviously, Saka keeps improving. If you sign, let's just forget the option. You sign a 3-year deal. In the next 12 to 18 months, beyond that point, from you sign a new deal today, 12 to 18 months, they're going to have to be talking to you about a new deal. And if you're doing the Saka thing and you're improving, it's more money. Go and get your bread. A football career is short. I can't see anything here. I see Kareem Adeyemi stuff. Let me scroll the way down. It could only be about a new contract. I would have loved us to sign Ryan Cherky, man. Let's copy and paste that link as well. I still stand by. We could have tried a thing for Ryan Cherky. I would have had tell Kareem Adeyemi would have made me mad. And fair enough, if the manager don't believe these guys can bring something to the team, these are the things we could have explored. I genuinely don't believe we did collectively as a club all we can. I don't think we exhausted all of our options this January. I think there might have been some things at play and we was like, oh, not really fancy that. So those internally at the club, they're gonna have to live or die by not just their decisions now, but their decisions before. And I know the club is not going to come out. They can't come out and tell us everything. But I think if the club were more crystal clear with fans and didn't talk in vague stuff or in the summer when telling us getting people's hopes up, we'd look at it a lot differently. It's very clouded. If I'm honest with you, I'm like, let's get a sporting director, man. Like, let's start there. Really, we need to start with that. It'd be interesting, man. It'd be interesting. Don't forget to keep smashing the like button and let me know your thoughts. How we not got 100 likes? I mean, big up Talksport, but yeah, the Skelly thing, even that, man, from Jason Cundy, that's not on, bro. Like, look what man I insinuating. And as I said, yeah, there are people that I'm not gonna say me, but there's people that will watch, big YouTubers or contenters or Sky Sports, whatever, and their personal opinion becomes the narrative because you said it. People are believing it, and all it takes is somebody not even necessarily the truth. If you lot say DG has an attitude issue and you lot say it enough times, I probably do, but if you say it enough times, it becomes the norm. Everybody believes it. This is why I believe in, like, to your best of our abilities, having your honest opinions and saying what you feel, and sometimes saying I got it wrong. But people can make comments like that and you're not going to get checked on it. Like, the people that are these man's bosses, they're seeing KPIs, they're seeing engagement, bills are getting paid. It's as simple as that. I think the right DOF is the most important signing to make so we're prepared in the summer. Even that, like, when they come out and say maximizing the markets, the last 2 markets we fumbled, really. Now, I'll cut a bit of luxury for January, but really, is January that difficult? Are we really that good, even with injuries, that there's not a player that could improve us? Or are we being a bit too picky, rightly or wrongly? Is that the best of summers we could have had for a team that wants to maximize and capitalize and all those buzzwords on fine margins? Because the best one's Calafiori. He's being kept out by a young man, Lewis-Skelly. I don't have the answers. We actually didn't have a net zero summer then. We had to buy Raya and Rice, Havertz installments. Still no excuse for Jam, but it's starting to paint a bigger picture. There you have it, man. This summer is the last installment to pay for the Rice signing, which is 33 million. My son's loving your show, man, Aiden. And big up Aiden and Aries. Forgive me for mispronunciations, but big up the sons then, man. Appreciate that. Love the fact that you're here, man. Straight to pens, no extra time. Bloody hell, mate. Well, man, like, you know what? Yeah, it sounds mad because we scored 5 against City. I'm not saying Newcastle wouldn't score 1 and then it's 3 and we technically win on the night, lose on aggregate. I can see us scoring 2. I can't say I necessarily see us scoring 3. So is it just a thing where we just take it to pens then? As I said, I hope we've done our pen training. Pardon me. I have a feeling Rodrigo Bacola will be on the move. Good to be on the bench. We should explore those 2 or Leao. We're not gonna put the money down for Leao and the big boy striker, if I'm honest. KSE always do this. Just when Arsenal are so close to being a complete team, they fail to sign the players needed. I like Nico Williams. I think we have good moments if he played for us. But come the end of the season, you look at his numbers, it won't be more than 19, 15 goals, all comps, and 10 assists. I think people overhype them, yeah. But why? Obviously, I don't need Arteta to tell me why I would like Isaac. I would love him in it, but it's a dream. Where Sesko is concerned and Nico Williams, we've heard forever that these are the guys you lot want. So at least by the logic of these are the 2 players that the gaffer wants, you must know how they tie in the short, medium, and long term, and how ultimately it makes us better. Go after them, get it done in an ideal world. If not, and it just feels like at this moment in time, yeah, as much as they say collaboration, and there's been some W's, I do feel like there's been too many like chefs in the kitchen spoiling the pot. Like Arteta's got his own ideas. Edu's got his own ideas. Sometimes they're on the same page, sometimes they're not. You know, you got no sporting director at the moment. Jason Ito's in the mix. You got the Cronkies who got their own thoughts. Bearing in mind, Stan and Josh, even though it's Stan's club, like it's not Stan's club, it's our club, but it's Stan's club. Josh is the son. You ain't really got any skin in the game, really. And then you've got more so, not necessarily the Cronkies on a day-to-day basis, but you've got the Richard Garlicks, the people that are essentially, the eyes and ears of the Cronkies. And I just think everyone's butting heads. Everyone wants to do different things. And that's why I think sometimes it half looks like we're doing serious things and then we leave ourselves too much. And then we get into that stage where we hope everyone stays fit, form continues, no injuries, stuff that sounds good in theory, but in the reality of football, it's not going to be like that. So it's a techie one, man. You think we're winning? We only had 2 shots on target against them in the ground in the past 3 years. Cali Breeze, again, that's why I'm shook. But at the end of the day, you know what? I'm just choosing to be positive, like, not even positive. It's like, it is what it is, man. Just go out there and try a thing. At least make it nervy, innit? Belief is half the job done. As Arsene Wenger used to say, whether you believe you can or can't, you're right. I'm not really with this kumbaya stuff, which I'm probably sounding now, but we're out anyways. On paper, we're out. We're only in because the game's not kicked off. At least make it difficult, man. I don't want it to be a thing where I would say Newcastle a few years ago, man. Like, remember when we lost to Spurs and Newcastle and we was fighting for 4th? And let's be honest, Newcastle was rocking. It's like we stood in a motorway and cars were just hitting us. They hit us like they cooked us. At least go there, make the fans a bit nervy. Make it a difficult game and a significantly better performance than what I saw in our ground. Because I'm still not happy with that. Arsenal have to make sure Newcastle don't score first. Lookman is a better signing than Nico Williams. Gyökeres better than Sesko. What's Sesko done in the last few years? Bring me Gyökeres or Sesko. Lookman, I don't know if he's a better signing than Nico Williams, if I'm honest. But I'll be happy with all of them. Very good morning, DG. Watching while eating breakfast. Big up yourself, man. You're making me hungry. Even though we're upset we don't get a striker, let's get behind the team. This team is good enough to win trophies. There's still hope after the City game. There's more hope than concrete evidence for me, but I hear it, man. Like, all we could do is supporting it. And I'm not saying you're saying this, but I do think, people confuse support with just blindlessly following. Like, you can be critical of the manager, of the players, be hopeful or optimistic and still support. Like, it just feels like there's a bit of a cult following. Arsenal can come back. What do they have to lose may as well go all out. Arteta release all the shackles. And football is a psychological game. We saw it last year. Whatever we're saying about strikers, and obviously it weren't sustainable, there was a point these men could not put the ball in the back of the net. Couple of weeks in Dubai or however long, these guys were scoring. And I feel a couple of individuals are different, but I think we're quite a volatile side kind of mentally in that when everything's going well, we're in a sweet moment, we're on it, everything's turning to gold. When things kind of go wrong, I think there's only certain players that kind of, like, you can see they're at that kind of level. Let's get DG to 100K by the end of the year. We need to get to 70K first, and I hope I can. I let you lot down last year, and it was, to kick off this year, the 1st of January, and the end of 2024. I think it will stay with me for life, man. I did not like the way I felt, so I don't want to fail you lot this year, man. So, yeah, if you ain't subscribed or smash the like button, make sure you're doing that. The football of today is killing the strikers, players with no flair. Arsenal went to the Etihad and from 1-0 turned it to 2-1 until the sending off. We're on top of City at their ground. Of course, we can turn it around. Belief is half the job, innit? But the players have got to believe. The manager as well, but the fans and the away fans, they've made that journey. They'll make noise. They can make as much noise as they want. The Arteta can give them confidence in the game plan and this and that. The players have got to want to believe. Now, football isn't white or black, but belief was half of the job done against City. You believed, even in the first half when there was moments where they were getting into it, or I'd say the first 10 minutes of that second half to, the way we started the game, the middle part and the end, there was belief. The players have got to believe. I hope they do. Teams nowadays would turn down players like Cherky, but if he played in the early 2000s, this guy would be more appreciated and the manager would give him freedom to express himself. 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline in football. Teams get complacent. Amen. Newcastle 2-1 Arsenal tonight. Hopefully not, man. Do we really need Isaac? Is that really worth 150? I don't think any player is worth 150 million, but at the end of the day, like, if you score the goals, who cares? It's not my bread. We're not going to spend that anyways. It's not my bread. And You could say in the present day, as long as you do your job, like what Rice was 105, Caicedo was even more. What I swear, I could be wrong. I swear Caicedo was 120, and he's obviously a good player. I swear Caicedo was that. I swear Enzo Fernandez was something healthy like that as well. I could be wrong. In the present day, now we're not going to do that for a variety of reasons, but if it was 100 million, 115, I would say the max, not that I have 120 million or I make decisions, I would say 120 million. If there was any feasibility around Arsenal getting Isaac, I would personally say my cutoff point would be 120-ish. I think 150 is a madness. And that's, they spent 80 million on him. That's quite the healthy profit, isn't it? Arsenal always want to do the cash converters thing and try the cheap ones. Just pay the price for top players. You just have to. I don't know who mentioned Rodrigo, but that's a myth. Honestly, our club move like we're still inexperienced. Mustafi and Chambers, Arsenal. Isaac won't come to Arsenal because the club won't pay that much for one player with all the squad members that will need to come and be replaced in the summer. Fully agree with you on the MLS thing, DG. Look at the public perception of Nicholas Jackson versus Mudryk. It's tiresome, bro. Like at this point, yeah. White, black, man, woman, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, whatever. Like, if you genuinely cannot see the racist talk around and all the ways footballers are some are spoken about than the others, you're either extremely ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. You're naive, or you're a damn right liar. That's what I think, anyways. Not the time to be pushing for more youngsters. Relax. We're good with MLS and Ethan for now. Might have a choice. Isaac is worth around 80, 90, but with inflation, it's over 100 million. It is what it is. To be fair, is Isaac a better player when Newcastle bought him from Sociedad to now? I think he is. Is he held in higher regards in the world of football? Because there was a time, people would, myself included, if you was to say, sign Isaac with Uman and Arin, is he the guy? Is he not? Go and check out the stream I did with Kendall. I asked her this very question in the video because I asked her, like, what was the talking points at the summer you signed Isaac? Because people were still ooming and ahhing. So he probably is worth that. And also you got to factor in his wages. If you're buying a man for 100, 120, 130, 40, 50, whatever hypothetical have you, he's going to be near the highest earners, isn't it? But it depends, man. If the owners wanted to win things, they would find a way to get the bread to do what needed to be done. We need to thank God Haaland keeps producing gems. Amen for that. Thoughts on the ownership and what needs to be done? What needs to be done is them selling the club. But they're not going to do that, innit? They bought it in 2018. The club's now starting to turn a profit. They're clearly now, because they're the majority owners or they're only owners, pardon me, there's an emphasis on that self-sufficient stuff. Whether I think Mikel Arteta is or isn't the guy to win trophies, their only remit on Mikel Arteta, I think he wants to win, but their only remit on him is top four. Once you get top four, you're doing your thing. That's why Emre left, to go with no bums on seats. This is it. So when I look at it, it's like Arteta and the boys are just they're the only way we win a trophy. I don't think it will come from top to bottom. Like, we need to win a trophy and all of that. So that's my thoughts. So they're here to stay, man. Like, I'm not trying to sound down in the dumps. I don't want to do the woe is me thing, but they're not going nowhere. They've survived it when it was cloudier at this football club. And even that, I can't say Cronkies are the reason we did not win the league this year. I can't necessarily, and it's still counting. I definitely can't say that last year. I can't. I don't think they are. Money was spent. We shot ourselves on the pitch. As an Arsenal fan base, we have to make more noise about the rubbish that is going on in the English media about MLS. I cannot believe Kandi's referencing breaking Haaland's. This is it. It's nonsense, bro. It's absolutely shocking. It's not on, man. It's here to stay. Calafiori can't play 90 minutes, just ends up getting injured. Now, striker will arrive in the summer. Going to have to ride this out. The gaffer confuses me. What kind of player does he want? It's rubbing me the wrong way now, applause. I don't know, man. Fans have to man up and stop complaining. If Rice PSR stuff is slowing things down, KSC better dead that new stadium. They ain't doing none of that, man. And people need to stop getting involved in billionaire business. That's a different world we'll never understand. We won't understand it, but we can have an opinion on our football club. Bacola is more efficient than Nico. We are 2-0 down already. What's the worst that can happen? Go out there and try a thing. There you have it, man. Just try a thing. Nico Williams has kind of fallen off, but it's still consistent links. But my thing is, cool, if Nico Williams is the guy and Sesko's the guy, great. Make sure you get them. If you don't, make sure you pivot. Don't tell me we tried and we know the rhetoric and the cycle in it. Like, I don't want to hear that. Gyökeres better than Sesko, but Sesko with Arsenal for 4 or 5 years will be a beast at 25. Gyökeres' age. I believe the Cronkies really had taken some crazy risks with their money, which I don't get. We really let Arteta have more experience around him. If Arsenal had a prolific nine up front, they would have won the league title in the past 2 seasons. Buying a striker must be a priority. If they create many chances to deny and Kai misses, the narrative remains. Low key pees me off how many of our players post on Twitter and Instagram after a win draw. Damn, you're sounding very Brexit-y, mate. When should we protest about the owners? Listen, I'm the wrong guy to ask about that. I have not coordinated that. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm here with you lot today, though, man. The players believe Newcastle won, Arsenal 4. I hope they do, man. To talk about Isaac was his injury record. Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Kivior should be gone in the summer. We'll be spending more money in this area before we buy a striker and goalkeeper. Trust the process. You know what, though? If we do become self-sustaining club, we won't rely on the owners anymore. The club itself can do what it wants and not have to ask dad. So is it really about? I'm not against being self-sustaining. I'm really not against it. I'm really not against it. But I mean, at this point, I've said everything, and I don't want to keep repeating myself. Big up you lot, people. You're still not smashing the like button. You lot hate me, man. You lot hate me. I think fans were the ones forcing this January thing. The moment I saw the Zubameni decision, I knew it. We panicked with the Watkins because of the Jesus injury. I mean, for me personally, even with Jesus' injury, I think it merely just highlighted the issues we've got, really. But at this point, it is what it is, isn't it? I can have my opinion, but I can't control anything. So we see what Eddie Howe's had to say. He said, my message is we are at the halfway point in the tie. Against any opposition, the game is still very much alive. We have to do our part, but I think the quality of Arsenal and the team they have, we have to be on guard. We have to approach the game in a really positive, and keyword here, aggressive. They might not even have Joe Linton. Try to be ourselves in every moment, and there'll be no deviation from that. We're in a good position, and we need to make the most out of every opportunity. I think our success has been a combination of us and the crowd. I think we've become a really potent team together, and I think that's what we're going to need in this game. So again, playing on the crowd. This would be my lineup, people. Like, I would play Lewis-Skelly, and I did have Lewis-Skelly's names first. I don't know why. I just have a feeling Calafiori will do something for us today. And it's nothing against Lewis-Skelly. I don't know why I feel like this. I just think Calafiori is going to do something. So if it was up to me, Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Timber, Rice, Partey, Odegaard, Ethan comes in on that right-hand side. I would go with Trossard because I feel out of all the other attackers, but Ethan is finding his feet. Clearly, Havertz needs to play up front for us, and it goes without saying. Away from that, allegedly, Jorginho is expected to sign a contract with Flamengo in the coming days as he prepares to join the Brazilian club on a free transfer in the summer. You'd also see rumours that he really wants to play at the Club World Cup, people. Tottenham have completed record-breaking deal to beat Arsenal and Man City to wonder kid. We were linked with this Mason Miela guy, who I assume is Irish because he plays for an Irish club. He will join in September of 2025 when he turns 18. They're spending 1.6 mil with add-ons. Now, he has been linked with Arsenal. He's been linked with Arsenal, Brighton, and Man City, where he had a trial. So I don't know how far that interest went. And he's obviously signed. And obviously with Brexit, Ireland, Scotland, these are areas that there's slightly less red tape. Newcastle record-breaking Alexander Isak offer being submitted. Naturally, they're going to do what they can to get my man to sign a new deal. And if you're Isak, whether you want to move or stay at Newcastle, it's in your best interest to run that deal down so your negotiating position gets stronger. Naturally, it might, whether Arsenal sign Isak or not, which isn't happening, I very much doubt you can type Isak's name in and click on any article that mentions Isak and Arsenal's name isn't there somewhere, people. Apparently, he's a priority target for the summer. 19 goals in 26 games this season, a contract until 2028. So, yeah. And they're trying to get him to sign one. So, I have to see. We all know where we're at with Ollie Watkins. That didn't get anywhere. We all know, again, towards the end of the window, we tried to get Morata on loan. We did speak with Garcia, who has the same agent as Morata. Probably building blocks for the summer where the goalie's concerned, people. Charles Watts has spoken as well, and he's basically said Benjamin Sesko and Nico Williams look like players to watch this summer. The summer window has long been Arsenal's priority when it comes to adding in the squad. Forgive me, people. Everybody's saying the same things. I'm not going to disrespect you lot and even read this out. We know Ethan is showing he can cover for Saka and be a star and an option in this team anyways. We all know Nico Williams is very high on Mikel Arteta's list. There's nothing we are going to learn today or heard in January that we didn't hear in the summer and all the months in between. The Athletic came out with a piece as well, people. and spoke about our transfer dealings as well. Was this window a success or failure? A failure, man. Like a failure. Like we didn't get anybody's in. Arteta himself said he wanted one. It is a failure. And I will look personally, if we don't win a trophy, I'll look towards the summer and say that's where it's done. You can't not look at the January period and think, oh, what could happen there? The Watkins thing didn't bang. We know we got Neto and Sterling. We know Kai Havertz is struggling to lead the line by himself. We know Maldini Kukuri's joined Bromley on loan. We know Tierney's going to be a Celtic player at the end of the season. There's clearly still gaps in the team. Are we strong enough to achieve our goals? No, but at the end of the day, we are second. It is, well, it is. Just get on with it. We know the evident areas. Will there be money to spend in the summer? Yes. And this is the calculation Arsenal have made in choosing to keep their hands in their pockets during this window. In theory, well, we wouldn't have, though, because let's just assume Aston Villa said yes to 40 million for Watkins. So let's not make out that it was some calculated decision for us not to move for someone. Fair enough. Didn't think there was value for money. Want to keep the powder dry. But let's not talk like we didn't try to buy anyone. Like, come on, man. In theory, and with Sesko, in theory, it should allow them to make a giant leap once the next one opens in June. Newcastle's Isaac and Sesko are two players they admire the most. Both have the sort of long-term profile, they've decided to ring-fence funds for, as opposed to overspending on aging short-term fixes that may have helped them get over the line this season. But if we signed Watkins, for assuming Aston Villa accepted the first bid, this paragraph is not in this article. So again, this is where people are intellectually dishonest now. Whoever's written this article, clearly, they want to keep the club cool with the relations. It is what it is. Jordan Campbell, come on, man. Like, they're not going to be 100% honest, man. This is the media. What is the priority for the summer? It's a twofold. A number 6 to definitely settle the midfield equation, and an elite striker to definitely silence the noise around their perceived lack of one. Perceived? Big up Kai, but perceived. Real Sociedad holding midfielder Martin Zubimendi is a player they've put the groundwork in on and now hope to have a deal in place for ahead of the summer window officially opening. His arrival for around 50 million would allow Rice to settle into one position as the left 8, potentially solidifying that side of the team who have struggled to match the effectiveness of their right flank over the past few years. But the arrival of a top striker could be a game changer. Didn't say nothing about a wide man or Nico Williams. Fair enough. Let's start closing these articles, folks. Tab police. I'm getting good at it. Mikel Arteta on what he would look for in a striker said, with a 9 goals, with a goalkeeper, he stops shots and doesn't concede. Then if he can play with his feet, he can play with the high line. He dominates the aerial duels. Great. With the 9, it's the same. But a 9 that can produce goals as well in the manner and context that we face a lot. For example, against a lot of low blocks with a lot of density in the box and in the manner that we play. If he's a great guy, top. If he's very much available the time, great. If he can produce magic moments, even better. If his work rate is top, let's bring him in. Fair enough. I think that's everything we do. We are clearing the profile of players that we want, but as well, I want players that complement with other players and the beauty of the team. Fair enough. Apparently, people, the Gunners' sporadic approach in relation to Newcastle in front of goal failed them with only 3 of their 23 shots on target, while Isaac showcased his clinical nature. At the end of the day, we need to win in it. Eddie Howe's frustrated by the transfer window. I mean, join the club, mate. At least you sold a player for 20 million. Apparently, Cunha is keen to move to a bigger club despite signing a new Wolves contract. So it's fair to say them rumours, whether they're going to happen or not, they're here to stay. And he does have a release clause. I mean, you can see in the summer, whether we sign them or not, Sesko's going to be linked with us forever. Nico Williams is going to be linked with us forever. Zubimendi is going to be linked with us forever. Every now and again, they're going to sprinkle a Gyökeres, a Kudus, a Konya, an Isaac, and all of these ones. Harry Kane has a release clause in his Bayern Munich contract. Any takers? Obviously, I know it's not going to happen. Karim Adeyemi didn't go to Napoli, people. And, the Napoli director said they weren't happy and said they met Karim in Germany. But then they said, I read today he's already agreed to join another club for July. Good for him. I wonder if that's us, even though he's linked with Chelsea. Bayern Munich are linked with Gyökeres and Sesko. Regardless of Harry Kane's future, Bayern are already exploring the market for a future successor. Future planning. Benjamin Sesko, 21, and Victor Gyökeres, 26, were among the names discussed internally. Both would cost around 70 million euros in transfer fee, but would earn significantly less than Kane. After Kane's release clause for summer 2025 expired, Erble and Fawn still have a year at least to look for a successor. Okay. the Borussia Dortmund guy spoke on Ryan Cherky. He said there's been talks with Lyon for Cherky. We wanted to sign him. He didn't join because we couldn't reach an agreement. We're not going to get involved in Lyon's game in the media. Fair enough, man. Again, I am sick and tired of hearing about Mr. Nico Williams. Even if you're not going to be at the watch along, please make sure you subscribe, but make sure you smash the like button. Big up to the 6 people, excluding myself, or 7 including myself, who have done that. Should we see if there's anything else Arsenal related, people? It's not really going to be in it. Like, there's nothing to assess with us. You know what? For the culture, let's click on that. It's easy to link us with Isaac, ain't it? And I don't think anyone really and truly wants to hear anything about transfers because the market's shut. Arsenal's interest in Alexander Isak is no secret. Really, you reckon? Newcastle remain in a strong position and have no desire to sell, with Champions League qualification still within reach. Bearing in mind, 5 teams could actually get it from England. They're under no pressure to cash in, and figures being suggested, some as high as 150 million, are beyond what Arsenal are willing to entertain. While club sources insist that the valuation is exaggerated, there's still a growing expectation that Isak would command well over 100 million. But Arsenal explored Sesko in January. We did, but it didn't happen. You knew he wasn't going to leave mid-season, like. So it's neither here nor there, really. Like, we're at where we're at. It, rightly or wrongly, it is what it is, man. Just on the poll as a gunner, you've got to say yes. Let's show Isak real guns. He'll be pulling up at the Emirates, scoring and showing us gun signs. Nah, man, we need to humble them. We need to sign Lookman, Eze, Gyökeres, or Osman in the summer. Pardon me, I like Eze, but it depends on the price. Gyökeres would be there, but I think we'll explore the other options. Lookman, depends on the price. Amarim will sign Tavares. Apparently, Tavares is balling out in Serie A for Lazio. Is he on loan there? He's one to watch for next season. Ain't it an obligation? Rice at left centre mid is not an efficiency pick at left centre mid. The 8 roles here to stay. For me, is bread and butter 6. I do think Rice is, the last 2 years he's got better at that 8 role. And I do think at the moment he's in a real good run of form. But yeah, but at the same time, if, I can think he can. I think too much is done of him in the 8. I still maintain his bread and butter is the 6. But if Arteta is saying, you know what, that's my 8, get the long-term 6 in it. Unless I want next summer or like the end of the transfer window, we know who the midfield partnership behind Odegaard is. We have a 9 that we believe in. If, Martinelli, Trossard, I'm not saying to alienate them, but we know who's the left winger that's going to do what Saka's on or even 50%. You've got Trossard, Martinelli, Kai Havertz, all of you lot chipping in. Boy, we can do it tonight. I'm ready for them. Big up Fam Zone TV. Make sure you're supporting. I hope we can, man. I really, really hope we can. Arteta completely killed our identity. We used to be pass masters. Did you not see the pass sequence for Ethan's goals? One touch flick and tricks. Now all we get is final third crosses. I do think it's gone a bit smelly. I'll back you on that. Calla is closer to Ramos in mentality than a fully defensive fullback. I don't know. I wouldn't want to start Lewis-Skelly. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I think this. I just think Calafiori is going to do something today. I mean, he did chip in against Wolves and City. And he did play very good against PSG. No, same settings as City. Ethan with the cameo. I hear that, but I'm starting Ethan. Ethan's starting for me. But I'm not going to cry because everybody's earned a start in it. City, everybody did their job. I even think down to Trossard or Martinelli. I think obviously when Lewis-Skelly is having a great game scoring and doing the celebration, when Ethan scored a rocket off the bench, when Odegaard's found his goal scoring boots, where Kai Havertz has had that miss but then got a goal and assist, where Raya's popped off the save, where Gabriel is getting into shenanigans with Haaland. I do think Trossard, Martinelli, and to a degree, even Juri and Timber, I think their performances kind of went under the radar. But you know what? 3 points first, individual praise second, man. I'm just asking a question, DG, bro. I'm not saying you have to be the guy or the leader. What are you asking? Maybe I've missed something. Ben White is back before Tommy and he had surgery. I love Tomiyasu, but bro, what's going on? This is the last game before a 10-day break. Hope they throw everything at the game. A strong winning mentality and a cohesive, efficient performance is needed. This is how we know Arteta don't even know what kind of striker he wants. Vlahovic, Watkins, Isco, Cunha, Sesko, not one of them have similarities. I hear that, but you pivot. And also, things can change. There was a time Tini was the first name on the team sheet, organic left back, and then it kind of changed. So I could understand it. I think you've got a good point there, but things could change. And to be honest with you, I think in the modern day, all of these competent strikers, like how many strikers just stand in the box? Haaland is probably the closest you get to what a traditional striker is. And even his general plays had to improve somewhat. You know, you have to be able to work the channels, drop deep, be a bit selfless, simultaneously get in the box. I think Isak can do that. I think Sesko can do that. I think Gyökeres can do that. I think Ollie Watkins can do that. Jesus, the goal scoring thing is one, but you can do that. Vlahovic, I'm not sure on because I don't rate Vlahovic as much as I used to rate him. I don't see, and that's where I agree with you. I think maybe times change, but when we was linked, even when we was linked with him to our signing Jesus, to what I see on the pitch, I don't think you're the guy like that. I wouldn't turn my nose up at Vlahovic, but I think I rated you a bit more than I would have liked. I don't, obviously, stylistically, you don't look good, but that's irrelevant. And I don't know why, but it'll always stick with me. I think the last international break or the one before, like Thiago Motta of Juventus, does that modern day striker stuff. And he was talking about the differences of playing for the Serbian national team and obviously Juventus. And he said he likes the fact that the Serbian manager tells me I can stay in the box, I can serve my energy. I'm not saying Arteta is not going to tell you that, but I think one thing that's been consistent when Kai Havertz has been up there, Jesus has been up there, you've got to be able to be a selfless act. It's like I would say the wide men are probably, you know, the ones who probably enjoy attack more in Arsenal because you're the ones that are probably getting more opportunities. It's kind of geared for you lot, if that makes sense. So, yeah, man. I don't know what I've missed in relation to the asking me point, my boy. I'm trying to find your previous comment, but I can't. I might be dreaming, but I wouldn't mind Lautaro Martinez at Arsenal. I used to be a big fan, and I wouldn't cry about him signing, and he does score decent goals, but I just still maintain I think his best work's done in a partnership. Was watching Thierry Henry analysing Haaland. He was scolding him for not making runs. Stay on, boy. If we had Haaland this season, we win the league. We had him last year, boy. I know it's not as white and black as this, but if we had Isak, there's no guarantee that, you know, the games we struggled to score, we wouldn't have lost any elsewhere, yeah, but I think when you look back at last season, maybe because of the VAR, ironically, people think of, I would say, Newcastle away, both the games against Aston Villa, potentially City away. I would say the North London derby at the Emirates and Chelsea away where we drew. But I don't think enough is said of that West Ham game at the Emirates where we created a million chances, did not put the ball in the back of the net. I don't want to back Haaland, especially with everything that's going on, but I would have backed Haaland to get a goal there. And if football is as white and black as that, we win the league by a point. The film I've seen of Vlahovic, I think he has a great touch, would imprint us. Yeah, Vlahovic in a high press, horrible. I wouldn't cry about him, though. Obviously, he's a cold-hearted killer. He can score goals. I just don't know if he's the one, though. If it's going to be a thing like to a degree with Haaland at City, which I'm not comparing Vlahovic to him, obviously. If we're just going to accept Vlahovic for what he is, then cool. But if we're going to try and make him do that pressing kind of stuff, I don't know. DG, who would be the free DOFs you want at Arsenal and why? Free, I don't know. But I want the Sociedad guy just because if we're doing this reunion, let's do it. He found Isak when Isak was robbed. You know, what? Sociedad bought Isak for 10 million, sold him for 80. I want him, man. And I just want to go down the experience route now, man. If I'm honest with you, we've tried to have... Listen, big up Jason Ito. It is what it is, but I think we've done the whole young team, young manager, young sporting director. Just get an experienced man there and give him a bit more authority. Maybe at times he might be able to reason with Mikel Arteta and say, you know what? They're not really giving us that much money to spend, yeah? We know we're going to buy Declan Rice for 105 million. I know you like Kai Havertz, but I've got an out and out. I've got a bad boy centre mid for you. I've got a striker for you. We could do something with this 65 mil. That's what I want, man. I know it's not as white and black as that. I know I'm not a fly on the wall at the Emirates, but yeah. Then who is your front three for today? Havertz, Ethan. I go with Trossard. I think Martinelli starts, though, just because it's a high energetic game. You need him to do his shift. And I think it's, to be honest with you, it really should be the first 11 the starting 11 that went out there against City. They deserved it. Isak being linked to Liverpool. How greedy. If they get Salah to sign a new deal and Isak, we'd have to imagine that Liverpool with Salah and Isak on top of what they have already. City are going to be doing a madness in the summer like they did in Jan, and Pep is going to hit back, and they've got Haaland. We'd need a 9, man. Both MLS and Ethan are starting, if you ask me. Rice is a better 8 in this Arsenal team. As long as Rice keeps doing what he's doing, I'm cool with it, man. Rice is listen. I understand, like, no one's above criticism. You can ask more with Rice, maybe pass a ball forward and whatever. Me personally, I accept Rice for what he is. I think we've got bigger problems than Rice. I think Rice has been absolute mustard. I think I think Rice is mustard, bro. Like, there's so many more things that we need to fix before Rice. Like, and Rice is probably the first big money signing that for me is actually banged. Like, we actually know what we're getting. It's not a Pepe thing. It's not a, well, we ain't got a long list of them. Big up Kendall. Look at her. She's a mod as well. Humble who. Hey, today, don't talk too much. If we get a first goal within the first 10 minutes, ooh. Oh, but imagine that. Imagine we score 2 goals early. Second half, we're looking like we're gonna score. We're gonna score. Them lot get a dodgy penalty in the last minute, and then they nick it. They talk about Isaac like he's playing for a championship club, bro. They talk like Newcastle's not a big club. Like, it's a big club. Obviously, they got red tape with PSR and all of that. The minute they can get around that and they can add to the Tonalis, the Gamaras, the Isaacs. Obviously, his name ain't as drippy as them, but I don't think Anthony Gordon gets thrown into that realm a lot more. That's a player I'd love, man. You know what? If if football was white and black, and you could just say, you know what, Newcastle, we're gonna have Gordon and Isaac. We're all right, you know. Throwing Gomaras if you want. Hi, first time here. Just want to ask who would you take, Sesko or Watkins? Big up yourself for your first time, but make sure it's not your last, man. Smash the like button and subscribe, blood. What's going on? I'm bitter. What a name. Sesko. Like, there's more of accredited interest. You got more years in the legs. I think we get caught in this trap as Arsenal or football fans of, you know, really and truly, we just care what they're doing on the field. But then we start doing the whole resale value and all of that. Sesko. It'd be lovely to have them both, but it's not realistic or feasible, really and truly. Because I rate Sesko. I genuinely do. I don't think he's perfect. I think he needs to learn and whatnot. But I do think he's somebody that people will waffle about signing in 2 or so years. It's like, look, like with Newcastle. Isaac was at Dortmund, so obviously people are rating him. He was down on his luck, found his feet a bit at Sociedad. They bought him, and probably they bought him in 2022. By 2024, you saw the links. So we need to be getting one of these strikers and developing them before everybody's on them, because we're not going to pay these crazy fees. But with Watkins, you do get an experienced man, and him being 29, turning 30, there's a sense of urgency. You've got your dream move. You're not going to be around forever. You're Premier League proven. You know what you're getting. Sesko, though, man. It'd be nice to have 2, but it's not feasible to have that in it. If Newcastle don't get top 5, Isaac or Gomaras or Tonali have to leave, or they'll be their second year on the verge of breaking PSR. I hear that, and Isaac is the one that's being linked with all the clubs, and he's got 2 years left on his deal. So maybe Newcastle would sit there and say, you know what, Isaac's gone. But I think out of them names there, would he necessarily be the first? Like, based on reports, and obviously Gordon's doing his thing at Newcastle, he signed a new deal. It felt like in the summer, maybe because of PSR or whatever, Gordon could have very well ended up at Liverpool, or somewhere else. I reckon out of that, they sell Gomaras first, you know. And even that, I go against it, because Gomaras, like, if you didn't know his name was Gomaras and he's Brazilian, you would think he grew up, I don't even know what road it would be, but round the corner from Newcastle Stadium, he proper loves it. I'm sure he didn't play in the first leg, did he? He didn't play in the first leg. I'm sure he was boying us. I'm sure he uploaded a video boying us. We need revenge. And Gomaras is one of those players, pardon my language, he's a bastard. Like, he's one of those players you like when you're there at your club, you hate when they're elsewhere. I feel the same way about Robertson at Liverpool. Felt that way about Diego Costa at Chelsea. Lewis-Skelly's been in the team 2 minutes, and he's probably got like that. But yeah, you'd imagine Gomaras could have been one of the Gomaras. I think that he'd be the first. I don't know why, but I think he'd be the first to kind of be moved on. The Italian teams are not really spending peas like that, but Tonali could be a one. I think they will move heaven and earth. It depends. It really depends. And there's other players away from them that they will sell before. Like, they just got 20 million for Lloyd Kelly, essentially. And there's probably a couple other bits and pieces they can do. Let's not do the gang. Osimhen is far better than Lukaku, but Osimhen didn't want to stay because of what the club Napoli posted about him on TikTok. It's deeper than football on the Osimhen thing. I'm not sure. Did I mention Osimhen? Maybe. I'm not sure in the context of that. I'm not sure. Bro, I'm sure Conte would use Osimhen. It's Napoli that don't want him. They tried to sell him. Egg on face. Osimhen made it clearly that I want to cut. Couldn't cut. Had to go Galatasaray. And Galatasaray bought 2 strikers in a window. Well, I know they've got Osimhen on loan and Morata on loan. It must be nice. Santi Jimenez should have been our main target, only 35. I like him, but I don't rate him like that. So it's like for me, we'll be signing him based on the fact that he's 24, he's doing his thing at Feyenoord, and like it's a striker in it. But I'm a hypocrite because I wanted a forward, but I'm not really gonna. Hugo, I could be wrong, you know. I guess we're gonna see at AC Milan, but yeah, Rice knows what he needs to improve. I just wonder with Rice, like you're not Frank Lampard. I'm not saying this as a criticism. You're not Michael Carrick. You're not Frank Lampard. You're not them man. So it's like, how much blood are we going to draw from a stone? But at the same time, I do think people harp on a bit too much with this 8 and the 6 and this and that and all of that. Keep the same team versus City. Big up yourself, G6. Wait, has Osimhen won in every league he's played in? I don't know about every league. He ain't won Bundesliga, has he? If he's won Bundesliga, then fair enough. But he's won in France with Lille. Somebody mentioned sporting director. Wouldn't mind Luis Campos based on his work at Lille or Monaco. He's won in Germany. Sorry, he's won in France. I don't think he's won in Germany. He's won in France. I don't know where Galatasaray are in the Turkish league. He's definitely won the league with Napoli. I'm not sure, but what we can do is type in Osimhen's name. I don't think he's won in every league. But that also is a good thing because he's well travelled. The man's played in Belgium, Germany, Italy, Turkey. I might be missing one out now. I don't think he has. I'm looking on his Wikipedia account now. Let me skip to the honours. See how he's got honours list, boy. Haaland, your dad ain't got one of these. He's won the. Oh yeah, he won. See, we wanted him during them times there as well. The under-17s World Cup. No, he hasn't won every league. Good player though. I just think with Osimhen, yeah, I'm not saying this is an excuse, but it's a bit like the Ivan Toney thing in that not just Arsenal, there's several clubs that want a striker, right? You've got this man who couldn't make it clearer that I want to leave. Like Osimhen seemed like one of them in the summer that, you know, for all the talk around Isaac and Sesko and this one and that one, Osimhen was probably one that's going to leave, right? You had Chelsea linked, Arsenal linked, United linked, which is why links and actually what's going on in the footballing world are very different. And clearly Osimhen's a good player. But if he's a good player, clearly improves a lot of teams. And you can see why there'd be people interested. Why did no one, respectfully to the Turkish league in Galatasaray, why did he end up there? Is there something that you would only know if you're in the footballing world? Is it his, I hate to do this, but is it his attitude? Is it some injury record? Is it concerns about who he is as a person? Is it, you know, the fee and the fee, the agent's fee, the transfer fee, the commission, the wages? I don't know. I always think that when it's so blatantly obvious someone can get signed, I even feel that way a bit about Ryan Cherky because I sit here and waffle about Ryan Cherky week in, week out, and 20 odd million euros. It feels obviously Dortmund tried, but you're just thinking, why has no one picked them up? Is there something that we don't know? Clubs aren't going to sign Osimhen. We missed out on Kara. I still can't believe we didn't go in for him. You and me both. But when PSG get involved, they're going to put the money down in whatever way Napoli wants. Already outnumbered. Apparently, his salary is 3 times that. Once you start getting into that realm, we can obviously offer him a healthy contract, but it's a forget about it thing. Osimhen in the Liverpool side, I'd be scared if he joins Chelsea. They'll be right behind us. DG, do you think the reason why Arsenal failed to get players in the transfer window is because Arteta is not a big name manager compared to someone like Roberto Mancini? Nope. If Wenger had today's resources, we'd have some of the best French talent in our team. I hear that, but there's also been times, and I know it's difficult. But I know he's not French, but Riyad Mahrez, Kante, Mbappe, Camavinga, Tchouameni, like the list goes on. And I've looked at Wenger, I'm like, what's going on? You're just telling me you knew about Kante since 14 years of age. Don't know how you found out about him, but why didn't he ever play for Arsenal Football Club? I don't know. Because there were times where Wenger didn't want to spend the peas as well, because Wenger weren't on certain things. Wenger had his own way of doing things. Even in the new generation, French players love Omri and Wenger, and we're trying to rewrite our heritage with Spanish dons. I hear that. I don't care where they're from, man. You could do wherever, as long as you're a good footballer and you help us, do your thing. Saw your Arsenal versus City reaction on the compilation channels. Big up them, man. Big up them. Also, did you hear that we're thinking of making a bid to Milan about Morata? That was a desperation thing from us. That was desperation. Like, we're trying to get loans. Obviously, we can't get loans from Premier League clubs. Morata, clearly there must have been some wind for whatever reason that AC Milan want to do things. And for whatever reason, that never happened, didn't it? How do you feel about Arsenal not rinsing France for immense talent? A shame, really. Like, a shame, as I kind of alluded to. Like, I not have none of them kind of stars. I said, yeah, it's a bit mad, isn't it? Even Tell. We should have got Tell before anything else. Okay, sorry, my bad. So yeah, I hear it. Newcastle will low block Arsenal to protect their lead and keep Isaac up front to bang goals. I hope Arteta has a solid tactical strategy as the record against them is poor. True, and I hope Saliba and Gabriel, it's all fun and games doing what you're doing with Haaland. Let's rise up to the occasion today, man. Let's rise up to the occasion. And to be honest, that's all we can do, man. We're out already on paper, so let's make it difficult, man. Let's just make it difficult. Wenger had a couple misses too, CR7 and Ibra, just name a couple. We're getting Sesko, highest ceiling available to us unless Tel becomes an option. Ever since Osimhen spat on his international coach Nigeria publicly, no one wants to touch him. His attitude stinks. DG, do you reckon he's after a Firmino type or an out-and-out striker? I think he's going to have to change to a clinical one because obviously Kai wasn't brought in to play up front and he's done a lot more in the goal scoring front than his teammates. And clearly I'm not comparing him to Firmino, but he's more of a, if we just say facilitator, I'd say that. Jesus, yeah, we gave him the number 9 and hope he scored in that, but it's more the other qualities. So you could say, yeah, but I think he's changed now. You need an out-and-out scorer now. Like, we need a 9. Like, we're playing in a day and age of fine margins. We need a 9. Probably. But that's the thing, though. You either do the City thing where you spend so much money that you can afford to play no striker and still score bare goals, or you go out and get Haaland and change your tactics, or you do the Firmino or the Liverpool thing where you've got a facilitator up front that can score goals but isn't clinical. You got Saka putting up mad numbers like what you'd have with Salah, and then you need someone on the left who's doing up Mane, innit? Good way. Would you have taken Morata alone to the end of the season? Yeah, man. I don't think it's sustainable because if I'm honest with you, we're relying on Ethan. He's a young man. Obviously, that's mad. Martinelli and Trossard, I don't know what I'm getting game in, game out. Kai Havertz, in terms of work rate and that, I know what I'm getting. And you will score goals, but I'm never going to have confidence that you're going to make the difference. We ain't got enough bodies. So, yeah, beggars can't be choosers. I definitely would have been looking at it funny, like Sterling, Morata, this one, that one. There's too many unanswered questions. But, yeah, man. It is what it is. We need a Declan magnitude version of a striker, is at whatever the cost. But that's the thing. You know yourself, man. Whatever the cost ain't going to happen. Millier is a baller. Baller. Finally doing his thing. That Morata talk is proper ugly. It is, man. But it'd be on brand, though, man. It'd be on brand, bro. But on that note, though, people, I met someone mentioning that they're eating their breakfast. And for me, I now want my lunch, people. I've gone gym. I've streamed with you lot. I'm back at 7 p.m. UK time because the game kicks off at 8. As usual, whether you've sent a super chat, whether you're a mod, whether you're a moderator, whether you're a consistent, active listener or a silent viewer, appreciate you lot, man. We've spoken about the MLS thing, which is probably that's the only thing that will take a smile off my face in the close to 90 minutes we've been here. So, yeah, it's been good, man. Hopefully we overcome Newcastle and the good times remain. It's the last game for 10 days. Obviously, we go off to Dubai and then we're back in action next week, I want to say. So, yeah, man, on that note, you lot smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Peace. You always